What's up guys, and welcome to my getting started guide for Chroma, Bloom and Blight, which as of recording is releasing tomorrow. Chances are you're watching this when it's actually already available out in the wild. I fortunately had, I luckily had some early access to the game, and I've been playing a ton of it over about the last 3 weeks. Now I do need to give a full disclaimer out for this video. I am actively working with developers Clarity Games on the marketing and promotion of the game. This is not a promotional video. This is not a sponsored video. This is not a video of me saying how great Chroma is. This is a video of a CCG fan sitting down and talking you through the basics and how the game works. That's all it is. So if you're instantly like, I'm not listening to this guy, he's financially involved, by all means, go elsewhere. Otherwise, it's just me going to be taking you through the basics of the game. I just want to get out there so there's nothing hidden straight away. So when you load the game up, this is what you're going to see. Now, the reason this video is going to be quite important for Chroma, actually, and before I jump into that, is Chroma is different to other card games in the fact that it gives you everything for free at the beginning. So every card, literally no kidding, like if I go to Deck Builder now, yes, I've played the game already, but every card in the game is free to everyone as soon as you come into the game. It's just the way the game works. Just over 220 cards, 22 heroes, all in the game for completely free. Everyone's playing. Now, that is an amazing feature. It's something that I think is going to be, I don't want to say groundbreaking, but it's going to really push on the card game genre, right? Without feeling tied into a game financially, it's going to be very, very refreshing. But here's the flip side of it. Most card games, by default, by design, by monetization, whatever you want to call it, have a progress barrier. In terms of you'll play starter decks, you'll then slowly earn cards to upgrade your starter decks, and then that's how you'll learn the game, by by adding these cards in on like an incremental basis to your starter decks. Chroma is very overwhelming, where it's basically said, here's 220 cards and 22 heroes, go learn the game. And it's like, what? So that's why this video is also going to be pretty handy, because I'm not going to go through kind of this deck and that deck and all these other decks. We're going to have a quick look at the starter decks, but this is more of just an overview. Where do you go first in Chroma? Where's a good starting point? The mistakes I made when starting the game, and the mistakes I don't want you guys to make when starting the game. So anyway, back to the actual content of the video. This is the start screen. This is exactly what you'll get when you load up the screen. Taking you through it quickly. Options in the corner, inventory. So the way the developers do make money is through cosmetics. You can see here I've got alternative card art. You can get card backs. You can have different loading screens, arena maps, and then that's the battle pass, and then there's some emotes as well that you can get your hands on. Battle pass is, as you've guessed it, it's a battle pass, guys. The bottom row is free. There's quite a lot of free stuff going. About every 5 levels, you grab something new for free. You can see there's some dev art, there's a card back for free, there's a loading screen for free, dev art, some alternative art, some gold, and then gold is what you're going to use to spend in the store. The store is your more premium content, so you can see in the store here you got all the different bits to buy. Deck builder, funny enough, it's your deck builder. You can also, if you hover over it, you can go onto your decks, and that's where you're going to be able to see what decks you've got available. Lore was only very recently added into the game, and it's a great little feature. Lore shows you the map of Arholt, and Arholt is the location where Chroma's set, and all of these little points over here are different places of the world, in the world of Chroma. Now, for example, you come over here, you can click on this, and it'll take you into Clan Castle, and then you can read about this. So you can see the city of it. You can then look at the heroes of Clan Castle, which heroes are from there. But you can see what cards are from here as well. And it's just and then also you click on the city, you can start reading about Clan Castle. And this is available for every single location. Stories are something else. So stories in the game, stories in the lore section aren't in every single place. They will be updated as the game grows, as it goes on. But trust me, just choose 2 places that don't have stories. Let's see if we can find somewhere with a story. No, we still haven't found a story yet. I'm pretty sure Tolopar has a story. Do you know what? Stories are, I think there's like 6 short stories in the game as we speak. And every place I'm clicking hasn't got a story on, so ignore me. But this is what the lore screen is. This is, it's a really nice little feature. and it's a nice little kind of addition to the game, especially if story is your jam. Then we have Learn. Now, Learn is where I recommend you go first. Learn is, it's not a tutorial. It's not an interactive tutorial. It is effectively a sheet that takes you through the basic mechanics, through screenshots, through how the mana works, how the game UI looks, and all things like that. So Learn's where you're going to go first. And then you've got your main screen, which is your play button here. You can see here you've got bot match, casual, best of one, best of two, sorry, best of one, best of three, ranked, and then draft. Draft won't be in the game until a little while after launch. But ranked will be in the game at launch, as well as best of one, best of two, sorry, best of three. Ranked will also have best of one and best of three as well. But anyway, intro's out of the way. Game. So the first place you're going to want to probably go is your starter decks, okay? So once you're on the Learn tab, you're going to take starter decks for a run. And there are 4 starter decks in the game. And as you can see, they pretty much say exactly what they are. Gyari, aggro starter. Astromagus is a rally starter, which we'll talk about in a minute. Ear is a control starter. Magnarchitect is best seen as a mid-range starter. So these are not editable, but what you can do is you can duplicate the decks and then start tweaking them if you want to. You can't actually edit out the starter decks. Now, you'll see that the first 2 here, what I recommend you play around with first. These have single color mana. Pretty simple, okay? So we click onto the deck. You can see over here, I'm just making a mistake. I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's go back. If we go onto a deck, oh, sorry, we can't even go into a deck because I can't actually edit the deck. So if I just duplicate it, that should allow me to. There we go. Now we can go into a deck. This is the deck screen, okay? So it's a single mana, all green. Gyari is very fast, okay? You have, each hero has 3 abilities, and that's kind of what's important to know. Gyari's is deal 3 damage to your opponent. Now, primary is available to everyone. You'll learn this in the Learn tab, so I'm not going to spend too long on this. Primary is deal 3 damage to your opponent, available from the start of the game, straight away. Secondary, if you yourself have dealt damage to your opponent this turn, companions have +1 attack until the end of turn. So pop your primary, then your opponents, or sorry, your companions have +1 attack. And then the ultimate is deal 5 damage to any target. You can get 11 damage out of this guy pretty easy. Sorry, Gyari's actually pronoun isn't just they or them, so I should remember that. So you can get 11 points of damage out with Gyari very quickly in Act 3 with the ultimate and then a prop of the primary, as well as playing someone like Will Hunt, which is when you play the card, you use your hero ability. So it's a very, very fast deck. You want to be swinging at face as much as you possibly can, basically, with Gyari. Astromagus is, again, quite a simple deck. It plays around, it's a bit more mid-rangey rather than the aggro, and that plays around a keyword called Rally. Now, Rally is a keyword that when you play a card of the same sub-archetype, then you get a buff. So Rally does different things, for example. Now let's try and find a Rally here, for example. Use your primary hero ability. So this is an SF Beast. That means it's a Stewards of Fate Beast. Stewards of Fate is one of the factions in the game. It's the red faction in the game, and the red mana is called Valor, and which we'll get onto in a minute. So once you play a card with either SF tag or a Beast tag, you'll activate this Rally ability, and then it will use your hero's primary ability. And the primary ability over here is deal 3 damage to target companion. Reduce this by 2 until the end of your next turn. So you do 3 damage. Next time will be 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. So if you repeat it over time, you're only doing 1 damage after the first proc of your 3 damage. Now we also have cards that can get very strong off the Rally, a little bit like Paragon Recruit, which is Rally gain +1/+1. It's a single cost card. We're all playing single mana. It can get up very, very quickly, okay? Then we have other cards in here that are pretty strong, like Luminary and Incandescent, which is Rally. I give a target allied companion +2/+2 and Overwhelm. Overwhelm being trample, being overrun, other keywords like that. So you can get very, very big companions basically with the just playing cards that are based around the same sub-archetype. So if your Killerfoot, for example, is a beast, doesn't have a Rally, but it's a beast card that plays into that. It plays into the standard bearer we saw earlier, which is the SF Beast. Paragon Recruit is an SF Initiate. So anything that's Initiate or SF will trigger that Rally ability there. Again, a Tiak Soldier. So if we play anything with Tiak or a Tyak, or soldier, it would tick off that as well. And you can see we kind of keep going on with it. SF, so that's a Stewards of Fate avatar soldier. You get the point of how rally works. Now, the reason I want to point that is because I struggled at first with understanding how rally worked. I assumed I just played a red card and it would proc on the rally. It doesn't. It's to do with that tribal tag at the bottom of the card. But it's a very, very fun deck. And it's pretty powerful. One of the benefits of having all the cards from the start in Chroma means that the start decks don't have to be stingy and tied off to only set amount of cards. They can just be like, hey, go play these cards. And then once you've gone and played those two starter decks, which I definitely recommend you start with the Gyari and the Astromagus, you can then start looking at Ear Control and Magnartifect. We're going to look at Magnartifect first because Magnartifect is my favourite hero in the game. I'm not kidding. They're super fun, they're a little bit silly, but they're very synergistic. They play a lot with their abilities. So Magnartifect's primary is you create a toy golem. This can create one of 3 different golems. It can be a 2/1 warded golem. It can be a 1/1 bolt golem, which basically is haste or rush. Or it can be a 1/2 taunt golem. And taunt is a mechanic we'll look at in a minute. And it basically means your opponent has to attack that companion if it's blocking one of the threatening lanes. Now this deck here plays into your golems basically, because if you look at the primary, sorry, if you look at the secondary, first time each turn a golem enters the ashes, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So every turn you can get 1 little chip damage to your opponent, and then for 6 neutral mana, choose up to 3 golems from your ashes. They merge and enter the story as a 6/6 big bot. So if you chose one with bolt, if you chose one with warded, which can't be targeted by spells, hexproof effectively, or if you chose one with taunt, the big bot would come out as a 6/6 bolt, taunt, and warded card for you to play. So it's a really, really nice play. And the way this kind of this deck starts to really kind of ramp up in power is when you start kind of repeating your golems, basically. They keep coming out. You have stuff like Tireless Automation, which is a golem, has bolt, and you can effectively discard a card from your hand to keep bringing this out. Now, what's important to know is if you put this guy on your 6/6 big bot, then all of a sudden you can keep doing that with big bot, because big bot takes the card text of your of the cards that you chose to destroy in your ashes, and the idea, basically, like I said, is you're looking at getting these golems out on the board and repeating their abilities over, or effectively getting them on the board as much as you can. Repeating their abilities over, you're going to get chip damage off with your secondary, and you're not doing massive amounts of damage at once, apart from with Big Bot and potentially with Living Maelstrom, because Living Maelstrom can be pretty big because you have a lot of golems in your graveyard, or ashes as it's called in Chroma, and then that fires as well can also come down and do some pretty nasty plays. But it's a very, very fun deck, and it plays around with 3 types of mana. Now, the mana system I'm going to quickly explain to you as well while we're here. Now, when you have a deck, if you import a deck from the Discord, or if you are playing a starter list, your mana is laid out for you, as you can see now. So we start with green, then we go to green, which is actually called Ambition. Then we go to red, which is called Velour. Then we go to green Ambition, and blue at the end, which is called Insight. So the way this works is turn 1, you'll get green. Then you'll get 3 turns of of red. Then you'll get green, then you get red, then you get 2 green, then you get 2 blue. Now, the reason this is important is because when it comes to deck building, you actually control how your mana plays into your deck. So, for example, let's say we had a very red-heavy deck for our early game. We could put 2 red in early doors. Then we can go 2 blue, and I'm going to go 1 green to balance out. Then I'll go red, blue, then I'll go a little bit green late game, and maybe we finish on a blue. Now, that's what I could do. That means now I've controlled my mana. So this is something you're not going to play around with straight away at the beginning. But if anyone's wondering how the mana works, how the mana is decided in terms of how it lays out on the mana curve, this is how it's done. Starter decks are already done. Developers have done that and put that in for you. But when you make a deck, you're going to need to choose how your mana distributes in what order. And then the final deck you can look at is Ear Control. And Ear Control is exactly as you guessed it was. It's got a lot of control cards in the deck. Cards that have kind of board wipes, have spot removal, lots of spells like Radiance, for example. It's a 1 mana card, which is 3/4, but it's an enchantment, so it dies after 3 turns. That's the way enchantments work. You also have cards like Ore, which could all companions become a 1/1. That includes your companions as well. If that waits, that does lots of damage. It can put lots of damage out. It's an expensive card, but idea of a control deck. Stall your opponent out as much as you can. Put this down and get lots and lots of damage off of this well. Hark, which is all companions disarmed, meaning all companions have 0 attack. 1000 Shining Teeth. Overwhelm, deal 12 damage to any target. This is effectively used to find lethal, potentially with the Ear list. And Ear very much lets you draw extra cards. So you can use her primary to spend 2 mana and then draw an extra card at the start of your next turn. But the ultimate reduces all neutral cost of cards in your hand by 2. Now, while we're here, I'm going to quickly talk about the mana, because it is something that really confused me, I'll be honest, when I first started playing Chroma. It was, I'm going to go new deck. There we go. Cool. It was something that, I couldn't get my head around the mana at first, and it's still getting my head around it now. So every mana obviously has a color. There's 4 colors of mana. There's green, red, blue, and purple, and they all have names. Now, that's what 1A means. It's 1 ambition. Ambition is green mana. If we go to purple, 1D. D is devotion, so that's 1 devotion mana. If we go to blue, blue is insight, so that's 1 insight mana on these cards. And then red is valor, so 1V is 1 valor. Now, the reason that's important is because on cards, sometimes you'll just see 1V, and you'll think, what on earth is 1V? That means you need to spend 1 valor mana to activate that ability. Now, if you have something that says N on the mana bar, like this just here, then we can see this is neutral. So any color can be paid to pay for neutral. Only blue or insight mana can be paid to spend for insight. But any color can be paid to spend for neutral. Now, you'll notice as well on the card, it says 1 CD. I didn't realize for a long time 1 CD means 1 cooldown. So, for example, this ability 2 blue, which is obviously 2 insight mana, and 1 cooldown, I deal 2 damage to target companion. If that destroys them, I mark the page they occupy with. Companions in this page have -1 attack. Now, 1 cooldown means that I can only play that once per turn. I then have to wait till my next turn to play it again. If I had 2 cooldowns, I'd have to wait 2 turns. So 2 CD or 1 CD is nothing to do with mana. It's to do with the cooldown ability of a card or of a hero's ability. And that's basically the mana. It took me a little while to get my head around, probably because I'm not the most sharpest tool in the box. But it's something that I definitely can be a little bit confusing at first. But 1A is green, D is purple, V is red, and I is blue. Now, let's jump into a game, shall we? We're going with the Gyari aggro starter deck, and I'm just going to play against the bot, and I'll talk through the basic gameplay and what's happening and what's going on in Chroma's game.
Day for a battle of wits.
Okay, so your Mulligan Phase is most card games have a Mulligan Phase. This here, if you choose to shuffle back, you don't take a punishment like a Magic the Gathering. For example, you don't lose a card. You can't choose what card you want to shuffle back, like Gwent, for example. If I choose to shuffle back, then I would get rid of all 5 cards and I would draw 5 new cards. Now, if we've got 5 cards in hand, it means we are playing second, and we'll also get a bag of crowns as a kind of it's what you get for playing second, because playing second's technically a disadvantage because of summoning sickness. So this is very cheap. We've got a 1 mana, we've got a 1 mana, we've got a 2 mana, we've got a 5 mana, a little bit expensive, but we've got a 3 mana. So we've got a really nice curve out opening 3 turns. We're going to keep exactly this hand. Now, bag of crowns is what you get, as I said. It adds 1 what's called chromatic. Any mana, so that is blue, red, purple, and green, to your mana pool until the end of your turn. So allowing you effectively to play one ahead of curve for that one turn. We don't need to do that for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Scholarfrost Hatchling, and then I'm going to play out there, and this evolves in Act 2, then I'm going to pass turn. Now the pages in Chroma, you can call them lanes if you want it, but they're technically called pages, are where you play into. There are 7 pages. Now if you come from a game like Mythgard, you'll be used to the fact that if there was a companion in page 1 or 2, I wouldn't be able to attack my opponent. I would have to attack that companion. That doesn't work in Chroma unless Taunt is on the board. So now what we can do is we are now going to play this Scholarfrost Hatchling over here, because that's going to get a 3/3 as well. And we're going to swing up at the plant, which is going to attack our opponent. We only have 1 green mana left, so we're going to leave it for now. Oh, actually, we're going to play the Ecotist, because we're playing an aggro deck and we need to get it out as quick as we can. This glowing green means it has an ability on it, so deadly. Any card, if I attack any card, no matter how big they are, it will kill it because of deadly. And on dusk, meaning when it dies and leaves the story, I deal 1 damage to both enemy hero, or to both heroes. Okay, so we're going to attack again. Like I said, we are playing an aggressive deck, so that's exactly what we want to be doing. We're going to attack here as well. And then we're going to pop our... Do you know, we're not going to pop our ability, actually. We are going to play Insurgent Automation over here. Well, that's going to leave 1 mana. We could maybe play this to play this card here, but I actually want to hold on to my Bag of Crowns for now and end turn. Now, when I end this turn, it's going to take the game to Act 2, because the game... Chroma works out in acts. So every hero has 40 life. There's no buffing that at the beginning of the game. There's no negative to that. It's just what they start with, 40 life. When you hit 30 life, or when a hero hits 30 life, then you're going to move to Act 2. You can see the middle which says 1 at the moment. We're going to move to Act 2. And what that's going to do is that's going to create up here and over here 2 neutral mana for both heroes. So I end turn. It's going to take the game into Act 2. And now my opponent has access before me, because they went into Act 2 first, 2 neutral mana to spend as well. So they effectively now have 5 mana to play with. The 3 normal mana, and then their 2 neutral mana. And it comes back to us now. We have 4 mana and we have the 2 neutral mana. The next life gate stops at 15. So when they get to 15, they will then we'll move into Act 3, and then their ultimate will become available, as will our ultimate as well. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to play the Will Hunt, because that's going to proc our leader's ability. It procs leader's ability, which now means our secondary is activated, which if you have yourself dealt damage to your opponent this turn, your companions have +1 attack until the end of turn. So we can now use this ability as well, which is 3N 1CD. 3N being 3 neutral, so it's going to use 1, 2, 3. And then, so we're going to prop this, and we're going to damage our opponent. Now we're going to swing at our opponent. Now what you're going to notice as well is they are now on 16. Now I'm going to swing with this Scholarfrost Hatchling here that's got 4 damage, but they're only going to go to 15 because, as you can see, they hit that life barrier. So even if I was to do 20 damage that turn, it would only do the 1 unless it had Overwhelm. Overwhelm goes over the... No, sorry, it doesn't go over the barrier. Overwhelm doesn't go over the barrier. They stops at 15. There's no way of getting over that barrier. Then I can attack with this here, which is then going to put them down on 11 health, and then I can end my turn. So now they've gone past that barrier. If they were to gain life back past it and go back to 20 life, that barrier wouldn't come back. I would still be able to do damage past it, and it wouldn't stop at 15 again. So they've used that ultimate ability, and they are now doing lots of damage to our side of the board. It probably isn't going to be enough damage, because we still have effectively lethal, almost lethal on the board as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play our Bag of Crowns, because just for example reasons. And then we can play this card over here as well. My allied companions have +1/+1. I evolve in Act 2, and my allied companions have an additional +1/+1. So when I play this card here, everything's going to get really big. I can then hit this ability if I wanted to, and everything gets even bigger. And then we could just swing this 1 through for 7 damage, which is obviously then going to wrap up the game. And that's going to play it out. Now, some tips for gameplay in Chroma is make sure you're keeping an eye on that life counter. Make sure you're not you're ordering your damage in the right order, so you're not swing in with a big 10 powered minion, companion, to then do 2 damage because the life barrier ticks in. Make sure, can you use your hero ability to get the life counter down? Also, there is an act counter as well. So you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, there was an act counter. As you play cards, that act counter counts down. When it gets to 0, then it will go on to the next act. So for example, if there is a control matchup, control versus control mirror match, you're not going to end up sitting there for half an hour before anyone gets to Act 2 or if anyone gets to Ultimate Ability. The Act counter will get there probably before some of the life barriers are actually activated as well. But that's kind of my basic getting started guide, really. Chroma is a really, really fun game, and I've really been enjoying it. And I said I wouldn't turn this into a promo video, so this is not going to be a promo video. It's just I have been having fun with the game. There is a lot to get your head around, and I mean a serious amount to get your head around. But understanding the basics, like how the mana is worded, the neutral, all that stuff is very, very good to get your head around the game. What I didn't actually mention and what I didn't do in this video, but this is a really important point, and I didn't do it because we were only running a mono green deck, is you can tap your mana. So in your mana bar, if you click on, let's say for example, you're playing blue and red, and you've got a card that is 2 blue mana, 1 red mana, which does happen, you can tap 2 red and 1 blue, meaning when you play that card, it will use that mana. Sometimes, for example, you may play, if it's got neutral mana on it, which is a better example, so it's got 2 reds and 2 neutral, sometimes when you play that, it can take a coloured mana that you want to use on another card. So it's always good to click on the mana bar on what mana you want to set up for a card you're going to play to make sure you're not eating into mana you want to use on another resource. But that's it, guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you did find it helpful. If you didn't find it helpful, then I'm very, very sorry. And also, if you've been enjoying Chroma, let me know as well. It's a very, very fun game. This is not going to turn into a Chroma channel. I can imagine now people straight away are like, oh, he used to play Gwen, he used to play Mythgard, now he's going to make Chroma content. It's not at all. I really put an update out of what I'm planning to do with this channel. I just really am enjoying this game, and I love card games, so I wanted to put this content out there just as a way of being like, hey, this is Chroma, go and enjoy it. It's really, really fun. But until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, and I will speak to you all soon. Until then, goodbye.